But you bring up another good issue, which is big to us is the jury fraud. I don't know if you're familiar with that, where people call you up and said you missed jury, so you owe a $5,000 fine, please send money to me. And remarkably, people that are very intelligent fall for this. I had one guy come, he was an attorney.
Well, joining tonight on the A-List by Angie Merton Special Candidate Edition is John Kinard, incumbent candidate for the Galveston District Clerk. The District Clerk's office plays a critical role in our justice system, managing court records, supporting judges and attorneys, and serving as a key point of contact for the public, among many other duties that we'll discuss today. Kinard is seeking another term and says his focus remains on accuracy, efficiency, and public access to the courts. Over the next half hour, we'll talk about his record in office, the challenges facing the district clerk's office, and what voters should expect moving forward. Welcome, John. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Angie.
Well, I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, a little bit about my background. I was a Dallas police officer at 19, did that for 6 years while I went through college and law school. Then I practiced law in Dallas for 2 years, and then I missed law enforcement, applied to the FBI, where I served for 27 years as an FBI agent in New Orleans, LA, Washington, D.C., Knoxville, Kansas City. And then lastly, after 20 years, here in Galveston. So we have been here for 20 years since I retired, and have thoroughly enjoyed it. We would come to Galveston for our vacations. And I got to say one more thing. I'm married to my lovely bride for 43 years, Chris Kinard, who's running for county judge.
Well, congratulations. So you retired and moved here. How long have you been our district clerk?
I've been your district clerk for 13 years.
Okay. So for viewers who may not interact with the district clerk's office, what does the district clerk do, and why is this office important to our everyday life?
This office was created in the Texas Constitution, so it's been around forever. One of the primary things we do is collect, store, and disseminate records. And these records are court records from the district court, and also we're different from all other counties to where the county courts can do family law matters, but we retain the records. They don't go to the county clerk. It's district clerk's thing. And one of the things when I came into office that I wanted to do was make the records more accessible, to make them immediately accessible. So how do you do that? What we did is we took 15 years worth of records and scanned them into the system. So now they were immediately available. All you had to do is go to the district clerk website, type in the name, and it'll pull that record up. And then we implemented e-filing. So all of the attorneys cannot file across the counter now. They have to file it online. So that means that once we approve the document, which is within 24 hours, then it's online for everybody to see. So the bottom line is we have about 35 years past records online. So that would go back to, I guess, 90 for people to access. And you can do that by simply going to the district clerk website.
And what kind of, all court records?
It's the district clerk, they do criminal, and we do civil, and we do family. So you have all sorts of records. Some of the family records were classified as sensitive. They have information about a child or whatever in there, and they're not accessible to the public.
Okay. So you're running as the incumbent. Looking back, what are you most proud of accomplishing? Geez. Let's try this one more time. What are you most proud of accomplishing during your time in office?
I mean, I like to do projects, and I'm always working on a project. We just talked about the records where I made them immediately accessible. One of the other things I did was with the jury system. It was terribly outdated. People were having to call in to see if you had jury duty the next day. So we looked for a year at different systems. We found one we really like, and we implemented it. And basically what it does, to be on a jury list, they get that list from your driver's license or voter registration. So this system went through and refined and eliminated people that were not eligible for jury. They were dead, or they don't live in the county anymore. So that saved the county a lot of money and mailing cost. But also what the system does, it allows us to communicate directly with the juror. If you give me your cell phone number and text, I can text you and say, hey, Court has been canceled. Jury duty is for the whole week. You come Monday, we tell you to go to court, and on Tuesday, but it may have been canceled, we let you know. But most importantly, this past Monday when we had a winter closure, we were able to tell everybody, don't come into jury duty Monday, come Tuesday. But what it has also done, it used to be 35% of the people we summoned showed up for jury duty. With this system, we get an 80% show up rate. And that saves a lot of money. So we really like this system. What I would like to do, and at some point, is pay the jurors with the gift cards. Right now, they get a check, probably about a month later. And if we give them a gift card, when their service is over with, we will release the funding and then go get cash or use it anywhere they want to use it. So I would definitely like to do that.
So you've told us a little bit about how technology has changed during your time there, which was one of my questions. Yeah. But since your office is responsible for maintaining these official court records, how do you ensure accuracy and integrity in those records?
Well, I mean, that's a difficult question. It's simply, I mean, once we get the records, that's the way the record is. If something's happened before we got the record to that document, we have no control. So what we do, these documents, our computer system is very secure. It's by Tyler Technologies. It's used by the whole state to where these records are maintained for the lawsuits and the criminal cases and everything. So once we get it, I can assure you that nothing's going to happen to that document.
So they're not typed in; they're probably scanned in. So
everything's scanned.
It's already.
It's however it's presented to us. They're secure.
Okay, so what improvements have had the biggest impact on efficiency for attorneys and judges?
The attorneys, they didn't like it initially, but the e-filing I talked about, that has helped them out. And for the judges, they recently gave the judges some pretty good raises. But the Office of Court Administration, which doesn't supervise, but it controls the judges, they said in order for you to retain this raise, you need at least a 90% clearance rate, which means that they've got to clear these cases. They got to be resolved. 90% of your cases have to do it. Well, we keep the records for that. So we will report to the OCA, Office of Court Administration, and since this started probably about a year ago, all the judges have been actually 100% compliant. So they're over the 90%. So we work closely. We have 10 judges in the courthouse, and I visit every week. I walk down the hall, and I visit with them, and they know me, and I know them. So
publicly, one of the biggest things that we know about you doing is jury duty. Well, what do you also take in the fines and fees? Do those go through you, or is that a different department?
We have the filing fees. We collect all of those. When you file a lawsuit, we collect the fees, and then they're divided up to different funds, and that's one of our responsibilities.
So cybersecurity is such a huge, big issue right now. It doesn't seem like I can put my credit card in and I'm not compromised in some way. They're always having to send me a new card. How do you protect sensitive court data while expanding digital access? Because obviously you're now letting people pay with cards and stuff, right?
You mean pay the fees?
Mm-hmm. Do they pay their fees can they pay them with cards?
They can pay some fees with cards.
Okay.
Some fees, and I want to get to this subject too, I'm proud of the passports, but the passports you can't pay because they go to the Department of State. So anyway, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
I was just saying, how do you protect the sensitive court data or their people's information while expanding their digital access?
We have a vendor that helps us collect. They created a system that we collect money on and distribute it. And they've had no issues with this at all. And they've got the technology to deal with all of the issues that you may have. But you bring up another good issue, which is big to us is the jury fraud. I don't know if you're familiar with that, where people call you up and said you missed jury, so you owe a $5,000 fine, please send money to me. And remarkably, people that are very intelligent fall for this. I had one guy come, he was an attorney, and he came, I said, where is the jury judge at? I need to pay my fine. and there is no jury
You're like,
judge.
there isn't such a thing?
So the bottom line, and I want to tell people that I'm the district clerk. I'm the only one that can assess you a fine for missing jury because I'm the only one that can say you missed jury. And I will never, as long as I'm district clerk, fine anybody for not showing up because I assume you didn't get the summons. So the bottom line, if anybody calls you and said you're being fined for missing jury duty in Galveston County, as long as John Kinard is the district clerk, that's not the case.
So good to know. Don't answer the call and send money to somebody saying they're going
And the
to.
number, they can mimic the sheriff's office number. When you caller ID will show Galveston County Sheriff's Office, whatever. They're very sophisticated. But the bottom line is, as long as I'm district clerk, you're not going to ever be fined for missing jury duty.
So now we do jury duty and they send you a notice, but then you sign into a website and continue the information about the jury duty from there. How, what accommodations are in place for, say, seniors or people with disabilities? And something I hadn't even thought of, but somebody brought to my attention the other day was, what about people who don't have internet access or the ability to have internet access? How do they do it?
Well, they're going to have to do it telephonically. We have a number that they can call and speak to one of our representatives. We have 2 representatives that work full-time pretty much on this all week long, answering the calls, whether they be email or whatever. But the telephone, we will work with them. And you said about the excuses. They recently raised the age. 75 is now the new 70. You have to be 75 to be exempt.
Okay.
And a lot of people come to me and they go, oh, I'm 71, but that has changed. The exemptions are pretty clear, and those are explained at the beginning of the jury duty when we tell them, okay, you have to have this to be qualified, to make sure everybody that's in that jury pool is qualified. I mean, jury is a very complicated process in that if you get a tainted jury, it can ruin all the cases you hear that week if you do something wrong.
Right.
And that's why we never comment about the cases. We're very careful to ensure all the rules are followed so we don't taint a jury. We normally, we get 2 sessions on Monday of 200 jurors apiece. So we get 400 jurors every Monday. About 40 weeks out of the year, we get 400 jurors.
So my husband actually had jury duty 2 weeks ago and loved that new system of being able to get a text or call with if he needs to be.
It's been a cost saving and informative. I mean, the number of people that would have come in Monday when it was freezing and they'd have been put in peril. So that's why I love the system. People have all complimented it. And
I'm shocked at how many people don't want to do jury duty. I love jury duty. I was like, I love to be a part of that process. But
yeah, I think some of the people are apprehensive about they may be assigned to a child molestation case or something.
Something hard.
And something really difficult that you cannot unsee.
Right.
And yeah, one other thing that we do, and I've covered most of them, is that I'm very proud of.
Oh, yeah.
We do passports.
Right. Well, and something that you did during your time has really kind of revolutionized passport accessibility.
It really has. When I started off, they had less than $1,000 revenue from passports, and they didn't push it. And I made it a point to go out and meet with different groups, tell them about the passport. The one thing we do that the post office does not want to do the passports, they want to deliver mail. So for us, there's not an appointment necessary to come in and get a passport. You can just walk right in there, and I have sufficient staffing doing passports that it's normally 15 minutes or less. So it's a very convenient. We're the same price as the post office. If you happen, all of my people, I have 5 at Lake City, are bilingual if you need that type of service. I'm into customer service. I want to please the customer, and I ask people frequently, they tell me I got a passport, well, how was it? And it's normally pretty good. But the bottom line on this is I go out to groups, do the passports. We do passport events with the Congressman Weber. We've probably done about 5 of them.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they're very successful on Saturdays. That the revenue now is about $500,000.
Wow.
Now, it doesn't sound like a lot in government terms, but that's unencumbered revenue. It doesn't have to
But
go
from 1,000.
well, from 1,000 13 years ago to 500,000, and it continues to grow every year. And what has happened in the past, I got to give the Commissioners Court credit that as I would go up in my revenue, they would give me another person
Oh,
to work
okay.
passports.
Right.
So that makes it a more efficient service for the passports. So I'm very proud of that. It's something we grew the business, and we put a lot of effort into it, and that's one of the things I'm proud of.
So the Saturday event with the congressman, is that the only time it's open on a Saturday? Or
And as far as our office,
the office hours for getting your passports?
yes, it's only that special event. Now, what we tried was because parents, in order for a child under 16 to get a passport, both parents have to be there at the same time.
Right.
So if you're open 8 to 5, they're working, it's hard to do. So that's why the Saturday events have been so popular,
Right.
that they were able to come in. We get a lot of people. I mean, I think the last one was like maybe 200 passports. But what we did is to try to do that and recreate that same scenario is we stayed open for 1 hour early. So we opened at 7 and closed at 6. So that gave them 1 hour window on either side. And that's what we did. And our revenue went up 40%. It was
Wow.
very, very successful.
And the citizens got to get passports
They
without
got-
having to take off of work.
They got to get passports. It was very popular. Unfortunately, we ran into some issues with that. And so we reverted back to now the Galveston County, the Clear Creek Passport Center in Lake City is open from 7:30 to 5:30.
Okay. And where is that?
That's over here at the annex, the county annex on Walker Road.
Okay. So, what do you think's been the most challenging part of being the district clerk?
A lot of it has to do with the management of personnel. I mean, I have 53 employees that work for me. 47 are women. There's different issues. But you also, there's so many different things, the technical issues that you run into with, but fortunately, what happens is on the technical issues like the document storage and everything else, we normally use vendors that have established themselves.
Do you establish those accounts, or is that a county?
It's me directly with the
establish.
district clerk. So the county clerk may use somebody else
Okay.
for their services, but that's who we contract with. Of course, it has to be approved by Commissioners Court and then the contract review fit within the requirements for contracts. I'm trying to think difficult.
It's all been great.
After you've been an FBI agent 27 years and been shot at, just going to work every day is no big deal. One of the biggest issues for us, though, is the jury. Because what happens is the judges, I said there's 10 judges, and so they tell us on Friday how many jurors they want. And we've got 400 jurors. So a lot of times the judges want more jurors than we have. So we have to go negotiate with the judges and say, hey, we only got 30 or 40 available. And that's a process because, like I say, that's why I try to keep a close relationship with the judges because I know that's going to come up. So that's probably the most difficult thing is when we don't have enough jurors to do. And it's also sometimes all the cases settle. And I tell my
Right.
jurors at the beginning, I say, no matter what, you've done your part because when those attorneys came in and saw the jurors' parking lot, a parking lot full of jurors' cars, they settled the cases.
Yeah, I said my husband just had jury duty, and when he was in the pool, we kept hearing on the news there was a murder trial, and then it settled.
Yeah.
It settled while he was there. When I think that all those jurors were a little bit nervous that they were going to have a murder trial.
Yeah.
But and that's hard. So how do you always see on TV how they sequester the jurors and all that, but they don't do that until those jurors are picked.
Right.
Like, how can you actually tell that a juror hasn't been? I mean, we've been hearing this on the news. This murder happened 2 years ago. By the time it's up, how is that jury not tainted?
Well, and that's something that the judge is responsible for determining. I mean, are they tainted. And they're asked in the questionnaire, and the attorneys will ask them those questions. Do you know anything about this case? Do you know anybody involved? So there's no surefire way. That's like I said earlier, we, as a district clerk, those jurors belong to me until they're assigned to a court. I decide whether they get off or whether or whatever. But once they're assigned to the court, then they belong to the court. And that's when you get into those sort of issues to where they're there the first day, they're not selected, but they read in the paper, hey, this big case is going to occur in the court I'm serving in.
Right.
So, and that's something, we defer to the judges. But we make sure, as I said earlier, that we don't do anything to taint those jurors. We don't say anything at all when they're there. We try to be very careful. We use the same jury presentation every time. It's not adapted to one day or the other. Like we've got several cases. We've got several murder cases this week. We don't do that.
Right.
So consistency is important. And that's what we have.
Well, and like I said, people try and get out of jury duty, and I love it, But guys, do your jury duty. If they're not having enough jurors to fill the courts, being backed up, people are like, why does it take so long for a case to come to court in Galveston County?
Yeah. And I think, if I portrayed it as a shortage, sometimes there is, but sometimes we have 400 jurors we don't use.
Right.
And to say, let's do a third 200-person session, that adds up to a lot of money.
Right.
You get paid $20 a day for your first day.
I guess what I'm saying is when you get there, don't make 9 million excuses of how you can get out, or try and figure out how to get out of jury duty. Because if you're there and you're those 200 members, they're expecting you to be there.
And we have people, because part of the process when we do the opening ceremony, I'll call it, is if you have any special issues and you want to talk to the judge about those issues, go ahead. We always have a line of 20 people telling them their dog is sick or whatever reason, and he can excuse them or delay their jury service. So there are still people, but, I think the vast majority, if you ask me, I'll say 85%.
I love that.
Because one of the things I do, which I like, and is I greet the jurors when they come in, because they come in, they don't know where to go. First thing they'll do is get on the elevator, go to the wrong floor. So when they come in, I'll say jury duty is that way. And, if they have any issues, it's not only the jury duty people. If somebody has a court issue, I will try to help them out there. So the bottom line is one day I put a pencil to paper, and I said 400 jurors, 40 weeks, times 13 years is over 200,000 jurors I've greeted.
Oh, wow.
So it's hard to believe. But it's a good process because people I know, I haven't seen in years, they come in for jury duty. So I enjoy the job, and that's why I'm continuing to run for re-election.
Well, and I think so. We've learned a lot about what the district clerk does, what you've implemented during your time there. But what can we tell voters to expect in the future if you're reelected to the district clerk position?
We will continue to improve upon what we've done. Passports we will continue to push. There'll always be new technology on records as far as searching those. And one other thing I wanted to mention too, which I did mention, that when I came in, that I'm very proud of, it's probably one of the best things I did, that we have 100 years of immigration records from 1850 to 1950, that we were the custodian of those because we were the record keeper for the immigration court here. So anybody that was processed through Galveston, we have the records.
From what years?
1850 to 1950.
Wow.
And the thing I'm proud about is I took and got the money from Commissioner's Court, and we scanned all of those records. And now they're in a database on the website of the district clerk. It's called the Immigration Portal. And it's neat because it has optical character recognition, which I'm not a computer geek. But what that allows you to do is just put any part of a name. If you just put in T, you don't have to put the full name. It will bring up all names with T on there. Or if you want to do the country, England, whatever, and it will bring up all records relating to that.
Wow.
And there's just so many records. I spent the first week playing with it, and I'm not a video game person, but it's very informative. People go, it doesn't cost anything. If you want a copy of a paper, it's $1 a page. So as I said before, I'm a project guy. I'm a type A people pleaser. I mean, that's what makes me happy. I don't do it because I have to, but it just makes me a happy person.
So, since it's not your job anymore, where are the immigration records held now? If they need to look up.
Well, the current ones, well, they're in federal court, so
Okay.
they're over at the federal building.
Do they have a computer system as well that you can look up?
I don't think they do for
No?
those immigration records. And it was kind of a strange. I mean, Galveston really was the happening place. It was the New York City early on, before the 1900 storm.
Right.
And
Because they always say we were the Ellis Island of the South.
Yeah, and that's something else too that I've done is you talk about 1900 storm. We kept all of the court records back then. We have the ones from 1900, and it's in one of our books, and it has the last record filed before the storm, and then just 2 months later, we have the records where they're filing to dismiss all these cases because there's so many people that have died.
Oh, no.
But it amazes me, number one, that they survived and that the courts were able to recover within 2 months. And they started doing court again. And
Wow.
so what I've done, and it's a continuing project, every time you file a paper, I get $30 in restoration fees.
Okay.
And when that money adds up, I pick out some more records. We still have a lot of records, court records. We've done all the immigration records, court records back in the file room that we need to do. And I would hope somebody's listening to this and they just make a donation.
Just get it all done.
So we get about $150,000 a year in that fund, and that's how much we spend. But each one of these books can be between $5,000 and $11,000.
Now, can the public see those?
Yeah, we can make arrangements. I take them to some of my speeches and whatever. But if you really want to look through these, we'll make arrangements. We have a library at the back.
Do you want to see that 1900 storm
want to
one?
see it,
You know,
yeah.
so make an appointment to do that.
Yeah, just you contact there, and Doran Glenn is kind of our historian. She also does the jurors, and she would be happy to show you. And,
I'm a huge history buff, so that
Well,
my mom and I walked through the cemetery in Galveston one time, and we said, "I know this seems weird,
Yeah.
but just the graves that are there from 1900
Yeah.
storm. I mean, so many families. It's devastating, but it's also such a piece of history."
Yeah, it really was to see those records survive. So I'm hoping before I leave office, we'll have all the records restored. That's what we're
Oh, I
trying
love
for.
that. So some entrepreneur out there donate
If
to
you
the
wanna
district
donate,
clerk
yeah,
historic fund.
That's right, and I'm sure we could put your name on there too.
So, in closing, what else would you like Galveston County voters to know about you and your campaign?
I think I spent 27 years as an FBI agent, and I think I have the highest of integrity, and that's what I've been told by people. And as I said, I was a people pleaser, but I got to have my integrity. I got to do things the right way, and that's what I've always tried to do. I think I offer unique abilities. I have over 30 years in justice system experience. I have my accounting degree from University of Texas at Arlington, and I have a law degree from SMU Law School, and I practiced for a couple of years, so I have accounting. Because that's one of the other things we do that I'm responsible for doing is I manage $2 million in the registry fund, which is for the minors that have received a settlement, and they cannot be given the settlement until they're 18. So I take that money we've had, 20 years we'll have it, and I've got to decide where to invest that for the best return for them. And that's one of my responsibilities. And that's why you got to have integrity. I mean, that's $2 million may not be a lot to some people, but it is to me.
Right.
So, and we have auditors throughout the county. They have auditors. But, in closing, I thank the people of Galveston County for giving me this opportunity. It's actually been a pleasant experience, and I've gotten to involve myself in the legal community. As I say, I'm an attorney, so I spend a lot of time with the judges, and I belong to the Galveston County Bar. I've been a member of the Texas State Bar since 1982, if that tells you how long.
When you got your law degree?
When I got my law degree and I passed the bar, I became a member, and I've been one since 1982. So.
I love the history of integrity. I mean, I don't think that you can be an FBI agent unless the government has the trust that you're going to do everything by the book. So that gives us some security that you're going to do everything by the book here, and that you love it.
I do love it, and it gives me a chance to go out and go within the community. And like I say, I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I normally get a project every year. One of my favorite projects, I keep thinking of things that I've done, and this will seem like nothing to you, but when I first came in there, I would walk through the hallways, and all the jurors would be sitting on the floor, and some of them were pretty old and had a hard time getting up. So I went and secured money for Commissioner's Court to provide juror benches. In there. They had like 2 on each floor, but I went and got all the way down. So now the jurors have a place to sit. And that made me happy because, it's not right they come down to jury duty and have to sit on the floor.
Right.
So that's what I mean. If I see something that needs to be done, I'll try to fix it.
Well, and you're saying that wouldn't be that big a deal, but it is, because that's an everyday problem that it might not be every day to the same person.
What I wanted to do is I wanted the same type of bench that we had, and they were about $6,000 a piece, which that sounds Commissioner's Court, they go, wow, they're only that wide. But they had already lasted over 10 years. I wanted the same type of benches. I wanted quality benches. I didn't want to get something that was not going to survive.
Right.
And they looked like they're brand new. So it's I think that was a good move. But I thank the Commissioner's Court too.
And I'm sure all those people that have to stand up or sit, thank you too.
Yeah.
But those things are a big deal. I like that you saw a problem, you solve it. That's what we want in county government, is districts government, is we want to know that you're using common sense, that you're looking for problems and fixing them. Right. When it's done the same old way every time, or it's the same old cronyism all the time, doing the things the same way, being able to look at something with common sense and just going, why are we doing this? Let's fix it.
And the thing I like to do too is we have periodic conferences with the other clerks. And we sit around and we say, what are you doing? Which system are you using? And that kind of thing. Because some of the counties still have the old jury system, to where you have to call in,
right,
see if your name's on the list and whatever. So I want to compare it and see if there's something we're missing. And it's a constant evolving process. And I hope it evolves a lot longer.
Well, and people in this area expect the greatest of technology. We are a technology community, and so they're probably frustrated when things aren't up to snuff on technology, because they're NASA scientists. They're like going, why am I calling in?
That's right. You're right. Well, that communication, two-way communication, where they can tell us and we can tell them, that's very critical.
So you hold the documents, you do jury duty, you do the passports. Is that the most encompassing jobs of district clerk?
Yeah, the registry, which is, as I said, the minor funding, that's not something, like we just recently changed the bank for that, so we had to do research on which bank we recommended to use. But that kind of runs itself. I have an office manager that handles that, and periodically I have to review the financial records and sign on the dotted line. So
I like that you have an eye toward the past for history. Galveston has such a rich history in so many ways, and most people wouldn't think about the documents and all of that, but how wonderful that you have an eye toward the past, but you're obviously onto technology in the future as well. So what a great combination.
My main objective is, like I said, I've been in office 13 years, and I think I've got a pretty good, well-oiled machine going there. I think we don't have a very high turnover. I guess I'm an easy boss, but anyway, and that's the key: retention of personnel. If somebody quits, you lose all of that experience. You have to hire somebody else. So we try to retain our employees and to use the best practices to do that, and I've done that.
Well, thank you so much. I guess we've covered all the bases. The election, just like everything, this is a Republican primary. So voting starts on February 17th and goes to February 27th, with election day being March 3rd. We always, as always, we encourage voters to learn about the candidates on their ballot and take part in the upcoming election. Thank you for watching the A-List with Angie Merton Special Candidate Edition, and I'll see you next time.